But for right now, game number 2 between Rival and Obey, absolutely going to be exciting. How does Obey bounce back here?
That was just a... It's just one of those matches where, like, I wish that I had the answers for you, and like as the analyst, you know, that's kind of the whole game plan here is like, yo, Taka, what are the game plans? Like, how do you come back if you're Obey? But the reality of it is, these guys are all top players in their respective roles, and I still firmly stand by that no matter what part of the standings they end up in. I just don't feel as though something is clicking. Like, it just doesn't feel like this composition, this roster is going to be the roster that we see making it to Worlds. I honestly feel like Obey might be due a roster change pretty soon here. And
I think you might be
I
right.
think that might be their best bet, if at least moving into the fall split. But that's for the team to decide, and that's not really my call, you know. So it's not exactly an easy thing to say here. It's just watching them. It's really. It sucks to see, honestly. I was really rooting for Obey. I mean, I love a lot of the players on that team. I think that they are fantastic individuals. It's just that something about their gameplay and their team play, it only comes out whenever they're against Energy.
I feel that. Just unable to really kind of reprise the lightning in the bottle that they catch every now and then. Bans coming out. Obey says no Athena and no Artemis, and Rival say no Chunga or Zhang Kui. So, a number of options are available. The healers are available if Rival want to go in that direction. Of course, mid lane Thoth also available. Or the Janus.
It's the Janus show for Wlfy here, and this is even scarier than the Thoth in Game 1, if you ask me, because not only is this going to give even more global mobility for them to terrorize Obey with, Chernobog might be the necessary response for that Janus, and I'm also liking to see PrettyPriMe on the Thoth, but it can go one of two ways. Thoth might have a really tough time tracking down this Janus and all those different little portal corners that he can cut around, and alongside of the Chernobog, maybe that's going to help keep Ice or Wlfy pinned down a little bit better, but it will definitely be some tough stuff.
Sylvanus and Rama going to be the duo lane of choice for Team Rival here. I like this look. Again, Sylvanus bringing a heavy push here. Chernobog and Thoth. I already like this better for Obey. I think they have a couple of more options. And Sobek, character that should not be forgotten, will be coming back, hopefully in the solo lane. I love Xaliea Sobek.
Sobek feels like a safe pick for the solo lane. I think that it's also a strong choice to make in the third pick slot here, because Sobek can work really well against Sylvanus also. So having that threat of Rival having to decide, is this going to be fully committed to the solo Beck, or are we going to see some support Beck? Both ways still entail Rival needing to draft up an appropriate response. I think that the way to go here is, even if it is for the support role, you've got a really strong, consistent duo lane. You know they're going to win the laning pressure. So I would say look for an aggressive god choice in the solo lane. Cerberus is an open option that Rival could take. Deathwalker has had some pretty impressive Cerberus performances in the past, so that wouldn't be all too different for him. But instead, Obey gonna beat him to the punch, I think.
I think that's the right choice. Sobek gives a lot of ambiguity. I think they talked it over during the ban phase and said best off taking Cerberus out there. But again, Rival Ice is so hot, and he goes from Rat to Naja, two of his strongest characters. I just can't help but think that Obey are going to be drawing a tough hand here.
The Amaterasu to seal it all off, though, that's what I'm really keeping track of, because I love the mobility aspect that Rival have now brought into their draft. They already had a little bit of that with the Janus, but Sylvanus, Neja, these aren't gods that have very great get-out-of-jail-free cards, so they get a little bit of assistance here. Neja, even if Ice is to commit all in, look to isolate a member from Obey, probably going to be PrettyPriMe, is what I'd imagine, but at least when he lands back down on the ground, maybe the Amaterasu ultimate is going to be enough to catch a stun, ensure that Ice gets out of there alive.
Certainly could be. Rival and Obey here. Naja, I think this is one of the better looks for the jungler. Nice mid to late game composition coming out from Rival. Obey, on the other hand, very similar stuff. I think a mid to late game composition here. As far as the drafts are concerned, I think this one is cut and dry. Naja might be an upper hand for Rival. Let's see how they do. Game 2.
Time to go into Game 2 here. Thank you, Tom and Taco, for breaking it down for us on the desk. Get to see how Obey's able to bounce back after a tough Game 1 loss there to Obey, or to Rival, rather.
It's going to be a battle of the junglers. Serqet for, we're going to see it out CaptainTwig. I'm like juggling my players there.
Oh, man,
I'm thinking about iceicebaby. I'm thinking about PrettyPriMe. I'm thinking about CaptainTwig now, finally. And the Najah. There's a lot of momentum between these two, and they need to get off to a great early start. But I like Rival's late game potential here. Just a lot of mobility between this Janus Amaterasu combination. That's why a lot of teams heavily prefer only when you also have a Janus, just to be able to chase down the opposition.
And I like this from Ice, right? After all that, after how hot he was in game 1, I was feeling himself on that Ratatosker. To move over to the Najah, that's like a confidence rhythm type pick, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. So after playing so well in game 1, it feels like if he's on that same path here in game 2, they should be able to get the victory. But is that enough to sway you, Mixer Chat? We want to know who you all think is going to win this game. Go ahead and vote for us in the poll.
I definitely think that Rival have a great momentum after that first game victory. It's hard for a team to really bounce back mentally after such a just dominant defeat.
Well, it was over quick, wasn't it? Like 23 minutes, not even 24.
Something like
so
that.
let's see if Obey Alliance can find a way to sort of right the ship here up against a Rival who are so good at closing out games. When they play that cleanly, they really do look like world beaters. Obey, here to remind everyone that they once were the world beaters themselves. I want to try and put it on display.
Vote and Callus, I like these picks between the Sylvanus and Rama. You're really looking to just clear the wave as soon as possible. Vote. You can't block his basic attacks, and you can't block Callus either, so Ataraxia needs to be mindful about his positioning.
Both steps forward. The Sylvanus Rom clear is pretty darn good, and you're seeing why here, as they quite easily out-pressure Ataraxia and iRaffer, and they kind of hang in between going for buffs and going for the waves. Now they could very easily lose this purple. iRaffer has to give that one up as well while Ataraxia sticks with the wave. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Rival keep going and look for the red, and that's exactly where they're going.
They recognize that CaptainTwig is invading their own red, and that's why Wlfy coming around underneath. Deathbane is down, but just in time to find the last basic attack.
Wlfy doesn't have his best escape path. He's had to walk out of here. Janus don't often have to do that, but should be fine. CaptainTwig used a lot on the buff itself, and Wlfy not able to defend the buff, but is alive. Prime, though, in trouble, still level 1.
If he can find the ring bounce. Oh, he couldn't get in range for that 4th basic attack, which just does so much more amplified damage. Even though you have speed buff, it's just still not really enough unless you have the boots on top of it. But still forcing out the beads from PrettyPriMe. There could be another round 2 attempt, especially if Wlfy can find a portal.
iceicebaby lurking right around the corner, can't find it, but a good play there from Twig to come down and take away the jungle from Rival. That doesn't, gift the farm to Ataraxia, the hunter, but it does stop Vote and Callus from getting all 4 buffs and jumping out in front.
It's true. It's risk versus reward, and there was not that much risk going into it from CaptainTwig, considering Vote and Callus was looking for the counter invade anyway. If Vote and Callus collapsed on their own red buff, then that risk would have been definitely not worth the reward to be collapsed on 3 people. But only in a 1v1 against Wlfy, you're in a good spot to definitely secure that buff with Assassin's Blessing.
iceicebaby is traveling along with Wlfy right now in the jungle. And for good reason, as you pointed out, they got those beads away from PrettyPriMe earlier, so if they can catch him out on that Thoth, it's a lot of kill potential with that Sash in order to take him down. XP camps are being stripped away, and they want to be here for the speed buff that Twig and Prime are going to.
We're going to reset those back camps, actually. Very close to 1 basic attack. iceicebaby is going to get Deathbane, but there's no more mana, really, on CaptainTwig. They're just relying on basic attacks.
Sash is going to pull him in beads, allows CaptainTwig to get away. Doesn't want to give that first blood up, but speed buff is still here. Only Prime to play defense. Iceice takes a good deal of poke. Portal lands, unstable vortex combo, not enough, but Twig is still around himself. They got to be careful with this.
He has the mana available, but the ring bounce is just too strong. Sash. Missing the Sash. There's just a crazy amount of action. First blood for CaptainTwig.
Ambushes in and finds it. They don't get speed, but they do find first blood, and they take down Wlfy. They overstayed their welcome just a bit, but can iceicebaby come in and return the favor? Prime does put out some damage, but it's not enough. Sash sets it up for Iceice to return.
Even though CaptainTwig found the first blood, Rival getting the better end of it by stripping away the speed buff. Yes, CaptainTwig got the gold boost, but by losing on these buffs, not only speed buff, but also those back cams, the experience advantage for iceicebaby is going to be able to hit that level 5 marker very soon with all these mid-harpies that they're about to grab.
Yeah, it was 3 successful camps they invaded because they got the XPs the first time they spawned too, and the speed and the blue and the kill. So they made the kills even. Only difference was that it was first blood that went to Obey, but I'm with you front to back. That feels like it comes out in Rival's favor, especially because Iceice gets one of the kills, never falls, and is able to keep going around sharing that farm, whereas Twig misses out on it. We should see that net them some early leads here, but Wlfy has to use beads, portal through the wall, pluck lands on the Collis. He gets pulled back into CaptainTwig. Root lands, they didn't have enough damage to punish the tree.
It's only a level 4 Serqet, and that's why Callis was able to walk away scot-free from that one. iceicebaby covering the lane at the moment while Deathwalker coming back into it. Xaliea still having his ultimate, as does Deathwalker. They're really trading out blows to each other once they get their boots completed.
iceicebaby is now level 5 though. He has an opportunity. He was able to find a gank attempt, but he's all the way back at base right now. He's not really anywhere where there's anyone to punish. Ataraxia has beads full ready to go, so does Prime. So it won't be the easiest gank. Maybe Twig, who still doesn't have them for the 35 seconds, if he can catch up to him.
Definitely could be the case. Xaliea backpedaling on purpose. If Deathwalker ever commits to dashing Xaliea to cancel out the Ghastly Breath, well then here comes the Stygian Torment immediately after, just to force out the Deathwalker ultimate. But this time Rival switching up their strategies. Game 1 it was all about the red buff, but Game 2 it's all about the speed.
And it could be all about Xaliea. He has Stygian Torment, but he is going to be able to avoid that with the Dazzling Offensive. Can't catch him out with the portal, so Rival looking for the disengage after successfully stealing the buff. But Twig once more, he goes in with the Cobra's Kiss, but gets taken up by the Windfire Wield. CaptainTwig gonna be low. CaptainTwig gonna be dead.
Deathwalker trying to escape. He gets the dash right off, but PrettyPriMe trying to follow him. Xaliea jumps in, and Deathwalker goes back to his teammates. Beautiful spit coming out of Xaliea.
That's a great shot to at least make that 1-for-1 jungler for solo laner. Ice cannot lock down PrettyPriMe. He will escape, but they're gonna continue to strip away this farm. So yet again, it's a 1-for-1, but yet again, it's Rival who are controlling some extra camps than they normally would have with these invades.
Very important to just establish the experience dominance. A nice attempt from CaptainTwig trying to make a play happen, but with the counterplay from iceicebaby taking him up to the sky, there was no chance that there was any continuation for CaptainTwig.
And they really just caught him out almost immediately when CaptainTwig tried to go in with the Cobra's Kiss. I mean, I think Through Space and Time was right there as well for some extra damage from Wlfy too to really punish him. And it was good that Xaliea was able to find any kind of return there, because Deathwalker somehow almost made it back out of there with some of the extra protections that he gets. He has a little bit of sustain when he switches stances too, and those were almost enough.
And that's the difficult ability to hit when you're trying to move your mouse that quickly, like just hitting him with a hot 180 flick on a paralyzing
Deathwalker
stick.
with the extra movement, kind of like over the wall, you're backing up. You're right, that's not an easy shot.
Not at all, and Xaliea showing off his mechanical prowess on that one. Going to be difficult to really gank him now with that silver breastplate, gaining about 35 physical protections, as iceicebaby, though, working on that penetration. Probably going to be a Jotun's Wrath. So once he hits about that level 9 marker, just to get that maxed out ring bounces to also shred some physical protections, that's when we could see some more solo lane pressure.
Why is no one at speed? They've been repeatedly making this a point to strip it away, and Deathwalker's just back there alone, grabbing it. Now they're going to make the rotation in. Coming as CaptainTwig first, but it's already been dropped. I can't believe it.
A lapse of judgment. Even a ward right on top of the blue buff out of Obey Alliance to spot that rotation.
Ataraxia in some trouble, is able to go up into the ultimate, but who does he want to go to right now? He's got to come right back down, I imagine, and he ends up going towards Deathwalker. Shell comes out to keep him alive, goes into the wall to avoid the last hit. Through Space and Time, though, comes through and adds some extra clip damage. CaptainTwig falls to the wisp from Collis. A little bit extra dot damage. Wlfy goes over the wall.
Are you kidding me?
Tracks down Raffer as well.
Oh, Wlfy the god going through the wall just to get the last hit onto Raffer, really showing him who's boss. Gold Fury now. This is the earliest Gold Fury of the set.
Yeah, they're right to come grab this Gold Fury, but I mean, Rival, these guys are just nuts, aren't they? I mean, Deathwalker with the individual play to take away the speed buff at the top. Collis and Vote working together to dive Ataraxia into the tower, sends him right to the rotating Deathwalker, where they're eventually able to force him back out. I mean, Wlfy goes underneath the tier 2 tower and finds that kill. I mean, when they play as a team like this, they just look unbeatable.
Wlfy's positioning is just next level. He aligned himself perfectly to save Deathwalker's life by hitting those 2 Obey members with that one ultimate. 2 for the price of 1, and that's the key moment that allowed Rival to continue the action and win the remaining of that team fight to secure themselves the first Gold Fury of the game.
And I don't want you all to. I mean, Rival lost. I mean, they were second place at World, which is really good, and we give them credit for it all the time. But I don't think they were sitting around going, "Man, we improved to second." They wanted to win. They thought they were the best team there. A 100% won, and the reason I say it is because we give them so much credit for it. But it's not as if they're resting off that. They feel like they're done. They want to win. They're constantly improving this Rival squad. They're constantly showing how much they're better at individual players and as a team. They used to just be the team squad. That team fought better than you, but they're starting to have claims, I feel, all 5 of them, to just the best in their role in the world as well.
The thing about Rival that makes them so dominant over other teams is their ability to adapt to all these changes that we do between each and every individual patch, that they don't even go for Chernobog right away. Like, they know how to deal with the Chernobog. Like, you're looking at Vote play. He's zoning Ataraxia away from the lane because the Ram-Sylvanus combination, even though it is way older than the Chernobog and it's not the, you know, the hot newness, it's just going to do the job done. You're going to clear the way very effectively and force them under towers to look for the invades. It's just cookie-cutter strategies that work so well for Rival, and Obey can't really handle this pressure now, forced to retreat.
Not even going to let you do your back camps. Max Rain Sash finds CaptainTwig. He's up in the air with the Windfire wheels, comes right back down, goes for the last breath, just trying to get some damage off before he falls. Raffer lurking in the waters to control iceicebaby, pulls him back towards Ataraxia, who can find the shots. Ice ends up falling.
Look at Wlfy and Deathwalker on the backside. Beads coming out of Ataraxia, but it's Raffer stuck in the cove. No. It's going to be a 2-for-1, but they're not done yet. Vote goes in the sky, avoiding the Stygian Torment. Stun on Xaliea, a lot of damage.
Ends up getting just stuck inside the shots from Vote and ends up falling. Wlfy gets the last bit of damage necessary. PrettyPriMe has to fall back on the back end, but Wlfy and Deathwalker, they're not done yet. Portal is great to catch him out. Prime still has evade and punish, so he does fall back. But Wlfy just showing how hot he's feeling.
How badly do you really want to counter that ward? They ask PrettyPriMe as they try to find the kill. Not having the insane amount of burst damage to find the kill, but poking him out deep enough that they can go for round 2 if he oversteps his boundaries.
CaptainTwig able to get the clear. Deathwalker not going to go any further forward. But yet again, Rival have another clean fight. And did you see where they took that fight, by the way? By the bat camps of Obey Alliance. Once they realize that they're ahead, Rival put their foot right on the gas. And they don't even let you get your bat camps for free at this point. They do end up giving up 1 life in trade, but Rival clearly feeling confident.
It's a power spike play. iceicebaby with Jotun's Wrath complete. CaptainTwig without his Void Shield quite yet is forcing Rival to take advantage of that disparity, not to mention the global pressure from Rival. So even if iceicebaby is alone in a 1v1, he's never really alone in a 1v1.
Raffer just used the charge prey, but immediately the Sash was there afterwards, forces out, lurking in the waters. Deathwalker in trade drops Dazzling Offensive and forces Raffer back. They don't get the kill, and they don't really find much else. Looks like Raffer was able to hold on, didn't even have the shell to be used, so nothing else really to get.
A lot of good shell placements, honestly, between a lot of these damage over times. You got the Serqet from CaptainTwig and the Sylvanus from Xaliea. Very impactful to be able to negate a lot of that damage. Xaliea spots this out. I like the ring bounce off the Fire Giant just to bounce onto Xaliea. As CaptainTwig's on the left, Xalia's on the right.
CaptainTwig gets controlled, but is able to dash away. Didn't have to use his purification beads either, so it's good he's able to hold on to those. But 5 members of Team Rival have come over to this right side of the map. It's really only Xaliea to try and defend the Pyromancer. He gets stunned and controlled right before it ends up going down, so Rival able to grab the Pyro.
He timed the Paralyzing Spit as best as he could. It was just a fraction too soon. And if it was any later, he would have got stunned anyway. So I like the timing from Xaliea trying to steal that one away. CaptainTwig trying to gank in a 2v1. Forced to jump away. Xaliea jumping back in. Uses the Stygian Torment trying to set up CaptainTwig.
Is not able to get the stun off. Twig is right here to try and follow up. Sprint comes out, so they are able to force the Relic usage from Deathwalker in the 2v1. But now Ice is here, and yeah, it's time to turn around and run. You don't want to go up against him right now. 2-1-4 with that Jotun's finish. He's swinging.
Yeah, definitely not wanting to deal with this level 11 Naja. Very close to getting his blink once he hits that level 12 marker, whereas CaptainTwig is still struggling just to even get to double digits, still sitting at level 9. Going for a very tanky build after this Void Shield. Now, working for a breastplate.
And you know what? I kind of like this because the way that Twig's been playing, he's been putting himself in a tough spot the whole set, I think it's fair to say, right? So if he's going to continue to play that far forward and kind of be the initiator for the team, the one that's going in, taking a lot of damage, then yeah, you know, build tanky.
I'm curious what this breastplate is going to be. If it's going to be the Spectral Armor, Height of the Me, and Breastplate of Valor. There's definitely merits to almost any transition from here, but if I were to guess, maybe just Breastplate of Valor for the cooldown reduction and just go for a utility-style jungler. Twig has done this from time to time where he's just trying to play setup, man, and Serqet could definitely do that.
Gold Fury's being burned. Deathwalker is going to be the front line forward, keeping Prime away from the action. They've leashed the Gold Fury for now. It's being restored back up. Xaliea comes forward. His target's Collis, chunks him down to about half HP with the paralyzing spit. Twig jumps in virtually alone. Deathbane into the wall, so he doesn't cover that much distance, but he is able to make it back out.
Look how Rival are playing this fight. They're just grouped up and collapsing, whereas Obey are just scattered in every single different angle. Wlfy chases down iRaffer, a triple knockup, setting up PrettyPriMe, but Vote in the sky, looking for the snipes. He's not going to connect the last one onto PrettyPriMe, but Xaliea gets taken out.
Xaliea falls to iCeicebaby. 2 members of Obey Alliance have already dropped, and Team Rival going to come down and grab the Gold Fury. CaptainTwig is around, and as he's shown us, he's unafraid to go in against all odds. He's forced out by Deathwalker, though. Gold Fury going to be looked at by the rest of Team Rival. Rival
just stretching the objectives. Immediately after that teamfight, Vote gets and secures the Tier 1 mid tower. Only CaptainTwig around the corner, but what can he really do against all 5 Rival members?
He's going to jump in, but just be a little bit too late. Now he almost certainly is going to fall. Drops the last breath to try and set up. Ataraxia uses the Living Nightmare to come into the fight. Drops down his ability, but it's not enough. Ataraxia going to end up falling to the Windfire Wields, and Wlfy's damage. Double kill for the mid lane.
This is not the play to be had for Obey Alliance. This is pure desperation mode for them, trying to get literally anything under themselves. They couldn't stop the Gold Fury. I like the attempt from CaptainTwig, but once he couldn't steal the Gold Fury, like, that play is dead. There's no reason for Ataraxia and PrettyPriMe to try to follow up and save their jungler that's still struggling in the experience department.
It really looked like at best that could have been a one more kill. They got off the back end of it to at least find something, but in the end they end up giving up their lives quite cleanly over to Team Rival, who play that about as well as you can. They have Deathwalker out there zoning away, making sure that CaptainTwig can't jump in, get the Gold Fury, and they're able to immediately collapse on the CaptainTwig once the Gold Fury is done.
Experience is really starting to skyrocket. All 10 relics available for Rival now. Wlfy using the beans to counteract that pluck from iRaffer. Good positioning out of the Croc, trying to really find any sort of weakness. That's still working on the Gauntlet of Thebes as Callus goes for his selfish build. Yet again, teamfights are favoring Rival very heavily. So once he finishes off the Lotus Crown to benefit his Wisps, he goes immediately for the Urchin yet again.
iCeicebaby can't quite find that max range sash, so Obey Alliance are going to be able to fall back. Wlfy dropping a portal. Okay, he is trying to get over here. Thought it might have just been for style as they look to group up and force down the Tier 1 tower on the right lane. Collis going to force everyone back. Actually pulls in Xaliea, roots into the sash, gets some good damage off. He'll be down to about 60% HP.
Trying to get the Tier 1 tower in the solo lane. Successfully does. His Rival left side obeys Ataraxia. Goes for the Tier 1 of himself. Making the play is Callus. Trying to follow up his Vote. It's just a zoning mechanism to get the Tier 2.
Tier 2 tower should come tumbling down. They didn't even go for Fire Giant. They're just pushing in response. Obey are taking the Tier 2 in mid and duo, but Phoenix on right's in trouble. IRaffer gets taken up with the Windfire Wheels. Stygian Torment does hit everyone. Xaliea, though, is in danger of falling. IRaffer takes down Wlfy first. Ice eventually gets Xaliea in response. Final Judgment. Double kill now for PrettyPriMe. iCeicebaby in a little bit of trouble as he gets plucked back. Ataraxia takes him out. 4 members of Rival are down. And Vote, I mean, where is he supposed to go? He gets tail whip interrupted. Deicide for Obey.
A clean performance out of Obey Alliance. They definitely baited out Rival to force the Phoenix. It was because Ataraxia was on the left-hand side and both PrettyPriMe and CaptainTwig were in mid. But Obey, they back off in mid, allow Ataraxia to continue the pressure on the left side. Rival were like, okay, well, I guess we're just going to try to go for this Phoenix and win this race. They thought that Obey were going to go for 2 Tier 2 towers and allow their Phoenix to go through, but that was not the case.
Fire Giant now should be going the way of Obey.
Raffer's dead. Raffer's dead.
He charged straight through and he does end up falling. Not going to get knocked up. So the rest of the team going to be able to get Fire Giant. Through space and time doesn't quite land, but Obey have answered back.
If that was aimed accurately, that timing was perfect to steal it away, and that would have really stuffed Obey's just mentality. Like, coming back from a DSI to lose the Fire Giant. Unfortunate for Wlfy, but Obey with the Fire Giant now for a good 3.5 minutes. Not going to be on to iRaffer, but if there's anyone you want to strip it away from, sure. Let your support not have it. Give up his life so that his hyper carries can.
But can we see those charts one more time? I mean, how important was that fight? Now, experience-wise, Obey are the ones that are out in front. Only 1,600 gold. I mean, at this point, it's essentially an even game, especially with the Fire Giant buff on Obey, and there's still a couple Tier 2 towers for them to grab. Rival, with that one overcommit on the Phoenix, have given up 18 minutes worth of work.
Before that little team fight happened, Obey only had 3 kills, and those were very early in the game where Rival's respawn timers were very short. At this point, around 18-minute mark, you're looking at about 30 to 40-second respawn timers to allow Obey to look for the farming potential, look for the objectives. Getting the Fire Giant immediately after was a great call that works out for Obey, but I still am questioning if whether or not they're going to go for these offensive plays.
iRaffer is the target up from the Windfire wheels, brought right back down. Collis drops the Wrath of Terra, doesn't get much out of the knock-up attempt. Ataraxia is going to come flying to the fight through space and time. It's iRaffer. He's clearly been the focus, but he's still alive.
Still alive is Deathwalker also on the backside. Vote snipes are not good, and it's Callus that gets turned on, actually. Vote gets taken out. There's not too many defensive relics for Rival to escape.
Xaliea was looking for the chase down, but can't find it. Curious call from Rival with such a hard commit onto iRaffer at this point in the game. They don't get him. In fact, they lose Vote and Collis in response.
This reminds me of the play that Obey did in game number 1 when they overcommitted onto Callus's Khepri. iRaffer just barely able to survive, absorbs the whole world on top of his shoulders to allow the rest of his team to clean up.
Now mid-Phoenix is being sieged. Remember, Obey are the ones with the Fire Giant. Wlfy can't find anyone with the Unstable Vortex. Mid-Phoenix is down. Obey Alliance have found a way to respond here in game 2. And very impressive. Because it was kind of a beaten in game 1.
Yes.
It really was. I mean, Rival just kind of took that game, but Obey, with that big play on the Phoenix to kind of confuse Rival a little bit about what they wanted to do, they've come back in a big way. Now they've got the first Phoenix down. They're coming back to grab the Gold Fury to extend their gold lead out. And they still have Fire Giant for another minute if they want to grab Tier 2, if they can regroup there.
Rival are definitely kicking themselves for going for that Phoenix on the right side. Obey are no slouches. You got to give them respect that they deserve. And by going for that Phoenix and not really valuing the global pressure from Ataraxia or the potential that both CaptainTwig and PrettyPriMe would have backed for the defense, was a little sloppy for the Spring Season 5 champions.
And it's calls like that that have been the small... If you want to say that there's one thing that Rival maybe has a problem with, and it's a really short list. Rival's an insanely good team, right? It might be calls like that that they can occasionally make. Sometimes they go for objectives when they don't quite have the secure. Sometimes they start these Phoenixes and they overcommit. It's a small thing that they sometimes do, and you got to be a team like Obey to capitalize even. So for the most part, it's okay, but it's a small thing that's sometimes there.
And the thing was, Rival, they felt forced, I think, to do it, because I'm looking at it as a player mentality. They didn't have time to really back themselves to defend those Tier 2 towers. So Obey were guaranteed to get the 3,000 gold. So they thought to themselves, maybe we can burn down this Phoenix fast enough and then win that team fight. So damn if you do, damn if you don't kind of play.
And they also kind of lost the 2v5 to a certain extent. I mean, Xaliea picked up just about everyone with the Stygian Torment and was able to group them back in. I mean, for 2 people to defend, they did a great job on their own as well.
Right side, Phoenix being engaged. Xaliea goes in, forces the beads from Vote and the ultimate from Wlfy. Cal is going to absorb some shots in the backline. There goes CaptainTwig.
Collis is going to fall very early on. PrettyPriMe finds the shot set up there by CaptainTwig, who jumped in over the wall. 5v4 for Obey, but Fire Giant has fallen off. I don't know if they feel confident enough to push in up against the 4 remaining members of Rival.
Definitely don't. There's just too much mobility between Deathwalker and Wlfy to reposition themselves, and the patience from CaptainTwig. That's the way you play assassin jungles. You wait for the big important cooldowns to be taken off the table before you go in.
He's an assassin in name only, though, right? I mean, look at this build.
True.
I don't know. Yeah.
He's definitely has very little to no physical power. Outside of the boots and the Void Shield, there's no power in that build.
Yeah, at this point, CaptainTwig is exactly like you highlighted earlier, kind of facilitating. And that's what he does in that fight, using Last Breath more to lock someone down than anything else, to give a chance for Prime to find some big damage. That's exactly what it takes. It gets Collis out of the fight early. They can't get the tier 2 yet, but now they got some space to come in and grab this FG, or at least try and force Rival into a fight.
They're warding aggressively to spot Rival coming from a distance, or just to even spot the pathing of the through space and time. If you can get those deep wards, you'll see those portals start to trickle down in the mini-map, and that's when you got to make a real quick decision about if you're going to commit to the Fire Giant or back on out.
Obey Alliance have the positional advantage here. CaptainTwig hasn't quite grouped up with everyone just yet, but with all these deep wards, Obey certainly know right where Rival are at and how they want to go about defending. They've got some good tools to do it. Vote with his shots from long range. Wlfy with the through space and time. They don't have to give this one up.
This is a test now for Rival of how they can play on the defensive, because they definitely didn't need to do that in the last game with such successful red buff invades. This time their speed buff invade strategy was working, but that unfortunate mid to late game misstep of the Phoenix is starting to bite them in the butt. So Bay Alliance have a little bit of a gold and experience lead. They're the ones that can really force the objective, but that's why Rival are in here and ready to defend.
Rival pushing up the mid wave a little bit as Obey Alliance kind of deciding exactly how they want to go about it. They're going to perhaps take this fight over in the lane, because Rival have stepped up a little bit too far. Iceice has Mad Guy's cloak, so he can't get caught out that easily. Collis can't find anyone either. They push Rival back. Everyone's going to be okay. No pull over the wall. I like the idea there from Callis, but can't find it. And Obey head back to FG one more time.
He actually hit the pull onto iRaffer, but it popped his Mad Guy's cloak,
Oh,
so he's going to be exposed. Wlfy being exposed himself without his beads or the ultimates.
CaptainTwig with a great find to come to the back line and punish Wlfy. A good shell comes out through space and time, chunks him, but Xaliea puts him down for good. Wlfy going to be sent on a respawn timer. Vote looking for the shots, but nothing can save Deathwalker from Ataraxia. iceicebaby the next one in trouble. He has to retreat. Vote just going to back Obey with another clean fight.
It might be Ataraxia with the last hits, but let me tell you, Finch, it was PrettyPriMe with the damage. That final judgment connect and does so much. Sitting at the top of the charts. This is not the Scylla that it was in the last game. This is the Thoth for PrettyPriMe, making it happen.
Yeah, and they're feeling the difference in those two picks here, I believe. Our team Rival. Obey Alliance going to grab this Fire Giant, and a game that looked to be going much the same pace as game one, easily in Rival's favor. You could see it on the chart there, right before the 19-minute mark. That was the play that turned this whole game around, and Obey Alliance, full credit to them. A great call on that play, but a great capitalization on it, because they've been patient ever since. They didn't rush into that FG just now, Tony.
That's true, and this is just still an elite team that has potential to be elite. They just need to find their groove to be able to do it consistently, being able to force the team in a sticky situation as Rival's currently in, trying to play defense. They only lost their middle Phoenix, but they defended the Fire Minions long enough to get a respawn and almost healthy.
Now, how do you like these two teams on offense for Obey and on the defense for Team Rival? Does either one of these teams, just composition-wise, kind of have an advantage in their siege or defensive capabilities?
I think that Obey has a little bit of a better sieging attempt, simply because PrettyPrime's range on the
Thoth is so good on both sides, yeah.
Being able to just get the stuns off. Now, that's why we're seeing so many Mad Guy's cloak from both sides, trying to deter iceicebaby from looking for the plays. Also, Callis blinking in the knockup versus CaptainTwig and PrettyPrime stuns.
Well, make sure you're keeping your eye on Prime in these fights and how much damage he'll be able to get off. And keep an eye on Deathwalker. That dazzling offensive really can be good as a counter initiation tool if Obey step too far forward, and he can find some nice big stunts to force everybody back.
And this is where the poking battle really starts to show its ugly head. PrettyPrime looking for the hieroglyphic assaults or the stunts onto Callis. CaptainTwig actually jumps over the wall, gets the Mad Guy's cloak trade with iceicebaby.
He is able to walk back out, but he's not scared. He's actually walking in forward. Phoenix on left-hand side getting chunked. Ataraxia can't quite bring it down. Xaliea still taking some shots.
It's so low.
Collis goes in with the Wrath of Terra, gets the knockup on Ataraxia. He's taken up by the Windfire wheels. He could certainly be in trouble. Iceice draws first blood in this engagement. Xaliea with the Stygian Torment does pull Collis back in, but but the portal gets everyone out. iceicebaby and Collis reposition.
The
They come in on the
chase.
backside of the fight for the dropship.
The chase is on, and they're collapsing and surrounding Obey Alliance. Iceice taking out PrettyPriMe. CaptainTwig waiting on the ground for Vote to come in. Gets off the last breath, avoids the basic attack. He gets crippled, forces out the beast, but the Aegis is keeping Vote alive.
That's such a good defense. That's a perfect example of a through space and time not used for damage that sets up for everyone. Sash lands on the CaptainTwig. He's still alive for the moment somehow, but he should be caught out.
Not like this. Vote takes out CaptainTwig in the dual lane as Wlfy chases out iRaffer. Too difficult to get away from the portal god.
Wlfy only needs the unstable vortex, likely to be able to finish this one off. Xaliea creates enough space that is going to keep iRaffer alive. Wlfy has to use the portal to try and escape. Xaliea going to chase him down, but look at the rest of the team. They're grabbing the tier 2 on left-hand side. Blink doesn't cut the distance enough for them to be able to find the kill, so that tier 2 should fall.
Trying to make it happen is Xaliea chasing Wlfy, but it's just too much movement speed between the portals, between the threshold. Ataraxia using his ultimate, but he's not actually going to commit to the chase down. He's just going to kind of scare Rival away.
Well,
what a defense.
No, such a strong defense, totally. And I was just asking you, how do we like the tools from Team Rival on defense? And to be honest, one of the things I would have brought up near the bottom of good defensive tools is through space and time, especially on a Phoenix Siege. But using it to reposition Ice and Collis to the back of the fight, really the whole team, and kind of collapse on him. I mean, that was sick.
Ataraxia got too ambitious. That Phoenix was just so low, and
he really
he went back into it. And I think that iceicebaby caught him with the ultimate. Both relics from Ataraxia wasn't even used in that last engagement, giving Rival a free pick. And then ever since then, it was a 5-on-4, and it's so difficult to really get away from both a Janus and an Amaterasu. Wlfy almost taking out iRaffer's life. He missed an unstable vortex through that mid wall, but that's a very difficult angle to really connect to. Also, keep in mind that the sickening strike on the red buff just topped iRaffer up enough to avoid the lethal damage from the portal.
Now it's Team Rival who are pushing in aggressively after thankfully being able to defend that Phoenix on the left-hand side. Team Rival are certainly not out of this one just yet. No Bay Alliance. Got to try a little bit more carefully next time if they want to be able to bring that Phoenix down. But this Fire Giant, when it respawns here in about 25+ seconds, that's going to be the next big point of contention here between these two squads.
And this game is basically even to rights. Even though it was Obey that secured the first Phoenix, with it now respawn for Rival not having any fire minions down the middle lane, this 3,000 gold lead that Obey has established for themselves is basically useless. Like, it's just a couple of sentry wards that you're really going to be able to deter, because everyone is almost full build at this point. You're looking at 5.5 items versus 6.
Yeah, you can see just about everybody in Obey Alliance are done with their build at this point. I mean, a little bit of work to do for CaptainTwig, still a little bit more for iRaffer, but essentially everyone is just about to finish this one off. You can see the crit is online and swinging from Ataraxia. As Fire Giant being started up, Deathwalker has already pulled it. Xaliea is here along with CaptainTwig for the defense. iRaffer has Mad Guy's Cloak and wants to move in, but can't find a pluck, and Rival drop it.
Keep in mind, PrettyPriMe wasn't there, but Rival did not really know that. He back to base to sell his Mage's Blessing to pick up the E-Staff, getting some more bonus damage on his shots, trying to get that extra health threshold lower and lower as Wlfy defends the left side. Phoenix, that was a pretty significant big wave to defend. I respect that call.
Recognizing he has to go back, the Mad Guy's Cloak from Collis has now been popped thanks to iRaffer, and they get some good poke back in on level 17 Sylvanus. That means Rival have to fall back. Obey now have control of the Fire Giant pit, at least in terms of positioning. Collis does have some sustain with the Wisp, so we'll keep him topped up. Xaliea waiting right over the wall, can't find the stun.
He's just trying to pop those Mad Guy's Cloak, maybe poke out Callus, and Callus without his Mad Guy's Cloak is very vulnerable to some damage from PrettyPriMe's long range.
iRaffer gets the pluck. Deathwalker already brought down to half HP. Through
PrettyPriMe
brings PrettyPriMe low, but iceicebaby's the target. He has to jump out of there. Does have that poison ticking, and CaptainTwig wants to come through and put him down. The root doesn't land. CaptainTwig keep chasing, but they're not able to finish him off.
Oh, iceicebaby's juking every which way. Vote takes out iRaffer while iceicebaby falls in the tier 2. The rest of Rival are trying to rotate on the right side of the map. The blink down from Xaliea. If he gets caught out, this is going to be a huge advantage for Rival.
Vote is going to try and help catch up. Collis with the root, not enough through the Mad Guy's cloak. Stitching Torment hits no one, but Wlfy deletes him on Stable Vortex. Point blank range. Now Prime and Twig have got to retreat. They don't have any of their front lines here to help.
Oh, Wlfy looking for another one onto PrettyPriMe for the double kill. 3 gone members out of Obey Alliance. Deathwalker going to chase down CaptainTwig. The rest of Rival, though, they're not interested in the Fire Giant quite yet. Oh, no, okay, they're going to back on out. They don't really have that much pressure in terms of minions to get that right side Phoenix.
And it's only CaptainTwig and Ataraxia still standing right now, solely, and neither one of them have their ultimates. Ataraxia used his to chase down Ice and had to back afterwards. Now Rival can pull the Fire Giant. They can be the ones now gearing up to make their own siege. In fact, Ice will respawn in time to grab this one as well. So all 5 members gonna get the buff. 1 tier 2 tower still standing in mid, and they can start looking to pressure a few Phoenixes of their own.
All right, Rival made 1 mistake, Obey made another mistake, and now Rival cleaning things up to get themselves the Fire Giant that really matters, the enhanced one, being able to get that 30% structure damage. It's going to allow Vote to really start bringing in the pain, especially having this much attack speed between not only his steroid, but also that Odysseus bow that is going to be able to just spread some more damage to the backline.
Well, there's a couple things you got to be able to do, Tully, to be a good team. One of them is win cleanly when you're ahead, and Rival showed us that in Game 1. In Game 2, though, they're showing us one of the other things you have to do, which is you have to be able to bounce back when you're behind or when you make a mistake. And now Rival are showing us they're at least back to the point where they're in the driver's seat. They haven't won yet, they haven't completed this, but now they're in a position where they can come down and be the siegers.
It's how you bounce back that makes you stronger as a person, as an individual, and as a team. As Rival are not perfect by any stretch. No one is really perfect. And as a collective unit, Rival have made mistakes in the past. You know, second place Worlds, they definitely did their homework and studied as to what they could have improved upon. And this game, you know, making some mistakes, but still persevering through it all to be able to come back at the 34-minute mark as they have themselves the Fire Giant for another 2.5 minutes. Plenty of time to at least get this middle tower and maybe go for a Phoenix if they can find a pick.
And we talked about the siege potential from Obey Alliance with Thoth. Well, he's just as good, if not better, on defense, man. Once he's able to kind of plant behind that wall and do damage from safety with that glyph for the extended range, it's not easy to force your way in. Rival going to have to find a way to fight through all that as they take down this tier 2. Should be relatively easy, even though iRaffer is showing some face.
He's not really going to commit to the defense. He has his Emperor's armor. He wants to get like an extra tower shot or 2 from the tier 2. And that's just a true sign of how aware you are in the moment of min-maxing every single second.
That's what iRaffer's doing. We expect that from him. A world champ in his own right, and now on this Obey Alliance run, 2-time. That's right, put some respect on it, as now iRaffer comes over here and try and help Obey grab some victories of their own. Mid lane is the real focus, but they're pushing up the waves in right and the waves in duo.
This little 1-3-1 split. Looking to collapse in middle probably at the end of the day, unless Wlfy can find a crazy clutch through space and time, which really got PrettyPriMe fairly low to scare him away from the team fight.
Stygian Torment's going to come out from Xaliea, and Deathwalker's been pulled back under the tower, but Xaliea is already extremely low. He's been forced to full-on retreat.
Vote misses the 3rd one, unfortunately, and Xaliea gets away, but Rival has plenty of sustain for round 2.
They can fall back and heal one more time. Vote couldn't quite find the shots to take down Xaliea. They need another mini wave to come through, but Prime has done a good job clearing them out so far.
Not going to have the engage that they really need between Xaliea, Stygian, Torment, but Callus certainly can, setting up Rival.
2-man Wrath of Terror is going to get things started off. Portal, Wlfy to get away from the danger, but Callus has been plucked back in. CaptainTwig is the target on the back end. He has nowhere to go. Vote turns around, and working with Wlfy takes down the jungler. Xaliea is going to step forward, but Portal to control him. iceicebaby in some trouble. Ataraxia eliminates him 1-for-1.
And Vote's going to be able to chunk down this Phoenix. His death of the jungler has not been in vain. Rival going forward for it. It's CaptainTwig, Ataraxia and PrettyPriMe trying to make the defense, but Deathwalker punishes them.
Deathwalker gets the stun. Vote finds Ataraxia Prime low as well, but he makes it all the way back to the fountain. They're looking at the Titan, getting in some good shots. but they can't stick around here, not safely. Xaliea jumps back in, forces them back with that breath.
Oh, iRaffer, though, he's very healthy, trying to buy some time, but PrettyPriMe missing the final judgment. That was crucial for the defense.
Such a big tool that they no longer have at their disposal. iRaffer still has lurking in the waters, but that's really not too much. But at this point, Rival have gotten what they've wanted. They've grabbed the mid-Phoenix, and I think this is in response to the fact that their own mid-Phoenix is weakened already. So they take the one down from Obey, and now they're lurking, they're waiting if anyone comes forward. But
it's a trap.
I think Obey recognized.
It's a trap. Xaliea, though, is right beside the speed buff. He's going to be able to spot how aggressive Rival really are. Walks away cleanly from potential death. And if iceicebaby lives there, the game is potentially over. Or if Vote hits the initial shots onto Xaliea. That was very close to taking out the Cerberus. Great defense, I would say, for Obey Alliance to at least hold on to their Titan for a little longer. Rival needs to wait for this Fire Giant to respawn, which is another reason I think that they backed off. They didn't have as much sustain as they want. Callus is doing a great job on the Sylvanus with his healing, but that Fire Giant sustain just adds it like a little cherry on the top.
Look at that player damage, though. Vote almost even with a Thoth. That is not easy, man. Thoth puts out some good damage.
That's definitely true. But the Disease build with the late game Rama, you're able to really spread your damage all across the board.
Been helping Vote, man. The impact he's had here on this ROM can't be overstated. Wlfy right there behind him as they group around this Fire Giant. It's starting to feel like this could potentially be the decider. They've each traded blows back and forth here now, Tully. And this fight over the Fire Giant, whoever gets it could certainly have a path to victory through one of the weakened Phoenixes. Deathwalker gets pulled in, brought to half health, has to dash away.
He has plenty of sustain between switching his auras and then receiving it from Callus right beside the Fire Giant. Ataraxia was able to defend the first Fire minion wave, but it's Obey Alliance that's just going to bait it out for the moment, trying to force Rival to react.
Collis can't find a pull. iRaffer still has that bubble, which Deathwalker's going to pop. Xaliea, though, blinks in along with CaptainTwig. They bring him low. Last breath comes out. Vote already retreats. Wrath of Terra to disrupt. iceicebaby tries to go in the back, but they force him away. But iRaffer gets left alone. Vote takes him down very early on. Blanket from Collis. Can't find the pull. All of Obey have to retreat.
The slows are so good from the ring bounce off of the Fire Giant, and this is where the mobility from Rival really matters.
The portal is going to set up an avenue for them to come in and catch off Ataraxia. He goes up into the air just to try and retweet. Tig is a little bit low, but Ataraxia's come right back down into danger. There's nowhere for him to go. Vote takes him down as well. 5v3. Team Rival want to try and push in on the base.
And they should be able to secure this one, Finch. They have a two-man advantage for at least 35 seconds. Once CaptainTwig went in, iRaffer tried to follow up, but it was a beautiful stun onto him from the dazzling offensive before lurking the waters made his appearance.
Well, now the right Phoenix is down, mid Phoenix is down. Only Xaliea, Twig, and Prime are left to defend. A Fire minion wave coming through mid. Portal locks down Xaliea, but he does jump away. Goes right into iceicebaby and takes Prime out of the fight. Titan now is going to be the focus. Prime has been deleted. Stygian Torment to try and control, but CaptainTwig does remove Vote. It's all too late. Titan comes down. Rival 2-0 over Obey.
Great job being able to bounce back after game number 2. A great performance in game 1, but even better, I would say, because they had to be able to defend their Phoenixes and be able to bounce back after a deficit. A true sign of an elite status team. And congratulations to Team Rival now making it to land.
That's it. 2 different types of wins there from Team Rival, but both of them very important. As you said, the very clean game 1 victory to show they can hold on to their lead, but 2 to show they can bounce back. No one wants to play against this Rival team at land, man. They look strong, but this is part of why. Who's the MVP that you pick from this team? It's very hard. All 5 of them played very, very well.
I don't even know who I would give it to personally. Maybe, like, just roll a D5.
Yeah, assign everybody to roll a D5. Yeah, that'll be how you find it. That's kind of how DMs do it, though, right? They're like, I don't know what they should do here. Just roll. Just roll some. Well, I'll work on it when I see the number. Yeah, but that's how you're gonna vote on your MVP in this one. Everyone really did look great for them. Vote had a ton of damage for them in the late game. Wlfy had some really big shots as well in that Janus. So definitely a lot of good picture you all to make. But we'll let the desk decide exactly where all that should go.
Hey there, folks. Game 2. This one looked like it was almost Obey's. So close. 32 minutes. Obey still actually had the lead despite Rival going for the Fire Giant. And then it all went to hell.
It's been a while since we've seen Rival having to play off of the back foot. And, I mean, it did come a little bit off the back of one of Rival's personal mistakes. But same could be said for both teams. I mean, Obey and Rival both had their own fair share of misplays throughout this match, and in the end, Rival were the ones who were actually able to capitalize once they got that Fire Giant under Rain and were able to actually make the siege happen again, because it was looking very promising for Obey. But on that left-hand Phoenix siege, the initiation from Ice was just all too perfect. Ataraxia getting picked off really just determined that fight from the start.
Yeah, just a really nice defense, or a really nice move around the Phoenix. And then, of course, like I said, the fight around the Fire Giant just really set things up. It took a long time to get that team fight down, but they totally did get the team fight down, which winds up putting Fire Giant in their favor. And it all fell into place there. The honest player, though, in the middle, Wlfy, is going to be your most valuable player of match number 1.
Well earned, too, from this set alone, because I think that in Game 1, Wlfy, strong performance, but Game 2, for sure, this Janus gameplay, such a large part of the reason why Rival was able to avoid so many complicated situations. Normally, you wouldn't even expect Janus and Najad to be a very ideal paired composition, but these two just made it work. Wlfy was so on point with every single one of his unstable vortexes. The portal's awesome, not even necessarily to play aggressively and try and pull anybody out of position, but just for his teammates.
I love that last play, too. We're always focusing on players hitting their abilities and using the portals and everything, but the way he aggresses onto the Cerberus and then walks away anticipating the ultimate, small things like that are really what separate the great players from the good ones, and Wlfy's certainly enjoying his work here in split number 2 for Team Rival. Odyssey is what's going on at home, and we're still trying to figure out who's going to get that tier 5. I voted for Ganesh.
Ares.
No.
Yes.
Ganesh.
Ares.
Whoa, who's that?
Ares is the god of war.
Ganesh.
I say this every time. He is way cooler than an elephant. He'll chain that elephant, actually. Put him in a zoo or a circus.
No, and then you know what happens?
What?
Oh, he just silences. No more chains.
Ares doesn't care.
No more chains.
You're already dead.
No more flames.
Okay.
Oh.
You only get one of those.
But it works.
No. Ares.
I say vote for Ganesh. You don't have to agree with us, but you do have to come to HRX, hi-rez.expo.com. Get your tickets November 16th through the 18th. Smite and Paladins, console and PC, and a whole lot more.
And of course, you not only get to come and watch some of the games, experience a little bit of that high-res life in person, but also got to check out some of the other cool stuff that Atlanta has to offer, as well as just some of the other stuff that's going to be at the event in general.
You get to tell Taka how wrong she is about Ares.
Ares is the truth.
I
got you, really Callus.
Oh, well. Next up, we've got Energy taking on Mouse. If Mouse 2-0 here, they tie, and we could see them at LAN. You're not going to want to miss this. Stay tuned for more SPL.